Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Book of Knowledge. Today we're going to talk about the origins, the true meaning, and the esoteric symbolism of the angel of death and Lucifer. Like we talked about before, we're going to use the torch of enlightenment to shed some light on these dark characters. We have spoken before about how angels and demons are personifications of either the visible planets in the daytime sky or specific angles or patterns displayed on the wheel of the zodiac. Or you can say that angels and demons are angles and day moons, or deities of the moon. With this basic understanding of angels and demons, we can now examine these scary characters more closely. The angel, or the angle of death, is a representation of the house of Capricorn. The winter solstice represents the death of the sun, or the year. This is the day with the least amount of light, when the sun stops moving south and does not move for 3 days, when it starts to make its way back to the northern hemisphere. This was considered the death of the sun. The house of Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn, related to the Roman god Saturn, who is also related to the Greek god Cronus. These are the slayer gods who hold the scythe and the hourglass. The scythe, used for cutting down the crops, is symbolic of the end of the life of the crops, as well as the end of the life of a year, and the end of life itself. The hourglass is the symbol of time, not endless time, but a certain amount of time, because the hourglass holds an amount of sand that corresponds with a certain amount of time. In this case, the amount of time until the end of the year, or the end of a life. This is why the god Saturn, Cronus, is the root of the word chronological, meaning to arrange things by time. This is also why Father Time is the same character as Saturn, the Grim Reaper, and the dark side of the duality of God that we refer to as Satan, which is a demonization of Saturn. The death of the sun is the winter solstice, when there is the least amount of sunlight and the most amount of darkness. The winter solstice starts the house of Capricorn, or the black house of death, and when you die, you meet the angel of death. The angel of death takes you to Charon, or the ferryman who takes you across the river Styx, or the water, where you are reborn in the afterlife. The house of Capricorn represents the death of the sun, when the sun meets the angle of death. The house of Capricorn is followed by the house of Aquarius and the house of Pisces, or the water signs that represent the primordial waters of the sea, the womb, or creation. The end of the house of Pisces is the spring equinox, which is the rebirth of the sun, the ancient year, and the seasons. Lucifer was said to have been the highest ranking of all the archangels. He was said to be the most beautiful and perfect being that God had ever created. Lucifer was much more beautiful, intelligent, and divine than even all of the other angels, and his pride and ego eventually led him to believe that he was more powerful than God himself. In a battle for heaven, Lucifer is defeated, cast out of heaven, and falls to hell. To understand the story of Lucifer, you first have to know that Lucifer is a personification of the planet Venus, as it appears in the morning, which is why Lucifer is also known as the morning star. Because Venus is located towards the sun from the earth, Venus can only ever be seen in the morning or in the evening, because nighttime is when you're facing away from the sun and also Venus. Also, when Venus is in front of or behind the sun, it is too bright to see Venus at all. So the only time you see Venus is when it is far enough to the right or to the left of the sun. Venus appears in the morning when it is traveling around the sun to the right in its orbit from the Earth's perspective. Because Venus is the brightest of the stars and planets, Lucifer is the most beautiful and most powerful of all the angels and the closest to God. Lucifer means the bearer of light, and it comes from the roots Luc or lux, meaning light. As Venus first starts to appear, as it makes its way out to the right of the sun, over time it will appear to rise higher and higher in the sky. When it reaches the furthest away its orbit will take it, Venus will turn around and go back the other way. Now Venus will fall lower and lower in the sky over time, until it is no longer visible at all. It will not be back as the morning star until it makes its way all the way back around the sun again. The rise of Venus in the sky is Lucifer's attack on heaven, and then the fall of Venus against the grain of the regular turning of the stars is Lucifer being cast out of heaven into hell. So that's going to be the end of another one. Hit the buttons, do the things, like, comment, subscribe, especially share. Most of what I'm showing you, you won't find anywhere else. So please help me reach new people by mashing on those buttons. If you like what you see here, you can check out my old channel. There's lots of videos there. The link is in the description. You can support me on Patreon, but most importantly, mash on those buttons. And with that, I guess I'm out. Peace.